It's really changed.
Because I'm the chief of police here.
Are members of the Eli Whitney Trades.
But at an honest mob at my back.
For YTV.
For YTV.
For YTV.
For YTV.
This is your Yale Week.
Hello and welcome to your Yale Week. I'm Julie Kim and here are this week's top stories. Our first story of the week. It has been confirmed that Jack Montague, former captain of the Yale basketball team, was expelled for sexual misconduct. This story has been developing since February 10th, when Montague's status in the university was changed or withdrawn on his academic record. To see full coverage, visit YaleDailyNews.com. Downtown District Manager Sergeant Roy Davis, along with the New Haven Police Department and Department of Parks, Recreation and Trees, launched Project Green Thumb just 2 months ago as a pilot. Already 135 individuals have taken advantage of this alternative, which allows individuals who commit quality-of-life crimes to pay fines with community service hours rather than arresting them or leaving them with no place to be. Elm City has also asked 2 outreach social workers from Columbus House, a privately owned homeless shelter, to make their resources more accessible to people on the green. After 4 years of renderings, pitches and site visits, real estate development and advisory firm Live, Work, Learn, Play has narrowed the list of hotel companies competing to put a new location on the Coliseum parking lot from 9 to 3. LWLP spearheads a project to transform the Coliseum parking lot at the intersection of Orange and George Streets into a roughly $430 million complex with 400 mixed-income residential units, 30 retail spaces, a hotel, and convention center. The firm hopes to announce its hotel partner within the next 60 to 90 days. Finally, our top story. On Wednesday, GESO, Yale's graduate student organization, became Local 33, an unofficial union unrecognized by both Yale and the National Labor Relations Board. The organization, which has bumped heads with Yale over its union status since 1990, affiliated itself with the university's 2 recognized blue-collar unions in a founding convention at the Omni Hotel. For more on the story, we'll sit down with reporter Finnegan Schick later in the show. But first, for a brief look at next week, Vicky Liu.
Thanks, Julie. This weekend will be a historic one for the Yale men's basketball team. March 13th is Selection Sunday for the NCAA men's basketball tournament, Yale's first appearance since 1962. Selection Sunday will be televised on CBS starting at 5:30 p.m. Most college basketball analysts project Yale to be seeded 12th through 13th, and possible first-round locations include Brooklyn, Providence, and Denver. The men's hockey team will be playing in the ECAC tournament this weekend against Dartmouth on Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 7 p.m. It's best 2 out of 3, so we hope Yale won't have to play again on Sunday at 5 p.m. There will be some great art events this weekend. Catch Macbeth at the Eisenman Theater. Remaining performances of the Shakespearean masterpiece are Friday at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. and Saturday at 4 p.m. On Saturday, the United States Navy Band will perform at Woolsey Hall from 7 to 9 p.m. as part of its 2016 national tour. Admission is free and open to the general public. And finally, don't forget to pick up your copy of Weekend. This week's cover story is on gut courses at Yale. Do administrators view guts as a necessary evil? Back to you, Julie.
Thanks, Vicky. So our top story is about GESO, who have recently changed their name from GESO to Local 33 and have aligned themselves with current Yale chapters 34 and 35. We have Finnegan Schick, the Warner House beat reporter. So Finnegan, how did GESO get this name change?
So GESO's name change came about after the National Labor Organization Unite Here, which funds Local 34 and 35, kind of brought GESO into its membership. So they issued a charter, which means that GESO, now Local 33, is kind of a member organization. It doesn't actually mean that they are a union, so it's sort of a nominal change, but it does mean that there are certain kind of psychological aspects, right? So people might perceive GESO to be more of a union than they currently are.
How could graduate students become a more recognized union?
So in order for Yale to recognize GESO Local 33 as a union, GESO would need to comply with the National Labor Relations Board set of guidelines for unionization. That would require a secret, authorized, democratic, kind of neutral election. So the National Labor Relations Board would need to come in, they would need to set up kind of voting booths, all of the graduate students would need to vote on unionization, and after that point, if they had a majority support, Yale would recognize Local 33 as a union. Now that's what happened with Local 34 and 35. They're both recognized by Yale as unions, but it's not clear right now whether or not Local 33 would be able to do that. They did. GESO attempted in 2003 to kind of have a vote internally. It wasn't a National Labor Relations Board vote, but they had an internal vote that they weren't able to pass. So it lost by a very, very small margin. It did not pass, but we'll see what the future brings because it's possible that they could kind of get some sort of an LRB vote.
So GESO, as you said, has been around since the 90s, so why haven't they had a vote with the National Labor Relations Board in the past?
So the National Labor Relations Board in 2003 issued a decision about graduate students at Brown University, and their decision said that graduate students there were not employees, they were actually just students, and that the work they did as teaching fellows, grading papers and whatnot, that constituted part of the education. It really wasn't employment, and it wasn't the same sort of relationship between students and professors as, say, between your boss and an employee or in an organization. Now, there's a new case before the National Labor Relations Board right now involving students at Columbia University. And that case actually has the potential to overturn the Brown University decision. And if it does, I think graduate students at Yale in Local 33 would have a very different, they would have a lot more bargaining power because they would be able to say, look, you know, this national organization, it's a governmental group, the NLRB, has said that we actually are employees. We are employed by the university in all the teaching work we do. So if that happens, I think Local 33 will have a little bit more leverage, but until then, it's really tricky to kind of have a similar kind of vote of the kind that Yale says is necessary for them to approve their union status.
So thanks, Finnegan.
Thank you so much, Julie.
That's your Yale Week, and from all of us here at YTV, have a great weekend.
Do you know what the first name of Schwartzman is?
No.
No.
Charles?
Harold.
Donald.
Joseph.
Jim.
Steven.
You're right, wow.